Welcome to the Olathe Spark Starters podcast, where it is our mission to inspire innovative ideas and empower educators to cannonball into personalized professional learning.
Thank you for joining me. I am Josh Stock, a 6th grade language arts teacher. I'm going to be the guest host of this podcast episode, and I am here with Amy Hillman, and we're going to be talking about how to get students moving and how movement helps students learn. So first off, would you mind introducing yourself?
Absolutely. I'm Amy Hillman. I am at Santa Fe Trail Middle School. I work with 6th graders with project-based learning, and 8th graders are AIM students, which is very similar to the AVID program in the high school. Kind of a cool opportunity happening right now in my life. I am a finalist, a K-Toy Kansas Teacher of the Year finalist for our state. That's right, Final 8 in the state, baby. And the coolest part about that is that I get to spread across the entire state what Olathe is all about, y'all. That's what we do. So thank you for inviting me to do this podcast. What a cool opportunity to share what we do over here at little SFT.
Absolutely. So why do you think it's important to incorporate movement into your lessons?
Well, here's the reality. We have to build in moments for our students to understand that they are human and their bodies need to move. Their bodies being movement vessels, we're going to have to make sure we build in opportunities. So in my 6th grade class, they're between 11 and 12-year-olds, so they're going to be sitting 11, 12 minutes. After 12 minutes, we're going to get up. We'll do a few activities that might include Hillman Says. We might do an activity that has a cheer that's involved. We might be doing brain gym, which is a set of movement that is pre-described. They've practiced it from the first day.
And so brain gym, is this something that people can find online? Or
They can. The movements of brain gym take our brain, and movement connects what we already know. So using brain gym, we do things called cross crawls. Cross crawls are getting the brain, the right brain and the left brain, our two hemispheres, to actually cross that beautiful imaginary line, the corpus callosum, having connections made. Through movement and their heart rate going up, we have oxygen being exchanged. We have beautiful dopamine. Yes, that wonderful thing that in adults, we need to be moving to with the kids. Dopamine. And we have, the endorphins that are kicked off with movement. And man, the smiles that happen during brain gym. This set of movements last about 3 minutes, maybe 4 if we do all the movements, but the kids feel connected. And you can see at the end of their time, they're smiling, they're more relaxed, and they're ready to engage. What is the importance of movement in the classroom? It's engagement. If the kids in middle school, darlings, if they're going to talk anyway, I want them to talk and move together. So then they're going to talk and move the way I need them to, so they can grow in my curriculum.
And the whole time, because I've been a part of some of these,
Yes.
You've done these at our professional development sessions, and you are very explicit about going over what your brain is doing. So the kids can, if you walked in, you could ask the kids and they could tell you what your brain is doing when you're doing, what's it called? Cross
crawls. Those are hookups. Now, say hookups in a middle school classroom, you're going to get some giggles, even when I do this at PDs as well.
Yes.
The hookups, once again, are different movements of the body. So yes, I do. I'm a nerdy science person.
Mm-hmm.
I have this background of 20-some years of science and anatomy and physiology. I love to teach how their tools work. So it's true. I'm a little obnoxious in the PDs, but when we do our stretches, we talk about the muscles involved. Mm-hmm. We very explicitly talk about how to move the hands, how to grasp, how to pull through, having the students almost mindfully start paying attention to their breathing. Our district is incredibly lucky to have the different curriculums that we use for SEL lessons. Part of those include the students understanding how their own bodies work and how their breathing takes part and how they learn to respond, not react. And the beautiful part is that something like brain gym or doing these activities where they're getting up and they're moving and they're learning how to self-regulate when they come back down to us. That self-regulation, no matter what age you are, 4 years old to literally 50 years old. Yes, I'm talking about us, y'all. Self-regulation is what we have to do on the daily. Those things that I talked about when we first started our conversation, all of that information coming at us, whether it's technology, whether it is just information, whether it is having 45, 50 people in our lives that are talking to us at any given time. And for middle school and high school kids, hallways can even be that overload. Yeah. When they step into my space, immediately they know the rituals and routines. that they know that we're going to start off together, whether it's a cheer, whether it is movement, whether it is the brain gym, whether it's Hillman Says, whether it's we pull sticks to get exercises going. And they know after a high five, we come back down, we're self-regulated, and we're ready to engage.
Well, and it's even before they come into the room. Because can you explain what you do before they even walk in the door?
You bet. There's something special about a Hillman classroom. It's to be a Hillmanite.
There are a lot of things special.
That's right. Very special, yes. Part of being a Hillmanite, we have a bit of a ritual. We line up outside of the classroom. And that gives me the opportunity to walk by and look at each of them and greet them separately. Not as they walk in my door, but actually out in the hallway. We're exchanging. I'm kind of getting a vibe of where they are and what their day has been about. And my students, they're not late to my class. I don't have a problem with tardies because the kids want to be in line. They want to be part of that. Before we do step into my classroom, I'm high-fiving them up and down the hallway. We do a little bit of hard work dedication. I'm all about the callback, Josh, it sounds crazy. And when people come up, their eyes get big. But when I yell hard work, those kids yell to me dedication. And that's growth mindset. It seems like something so simple, but it's buy-in. Engagement is when my students walk through my door. They've already told me that they're going to hard work and dedication. Oh, they're going to tell me what they're going to do. We greet each other. And I even have a crystal, Josh. Now, this crystal is special.
Yeah.
Rubbing the crystal, and teachers are like, well, what are they doing? They're rubbing what? I have a crystal that I've been teaching with for now 25 years. That's right, we knock on 25, y'all. For 25 years, this gorgeous smoky quartz that my daddy gave. He was a science nerd just like me. And my students, when they walk through my threshold, they give that rock a little rub. And that's truly almost like the Apollo, for those of you that are throw back into the Apollo. That reminds them where they are in the space that they're in. Once again, rituals, routines. You walk into our space, it might look different from everyone else, but in here, they know that it's business. As soon as they rub that crystal, they know it's going to be hard work. They know they're going to have to be dedicated, and every moment counts. As much as this conversation is all about incorporating movement, I think it's actually incorporating expectation.
Right.
And it's part of what we do on the regular. It's not something special we do only on Tuesdays. It's part of just our way of being a Hillmanite.
Well, and even before they get going on whatever that brain gym is or whatever it is, you are intentionally teaching them the skills. It's not just expecting them on day one, oh my gosh, they didn't line up right, they don't know how to do it, and then complaining about it. It's explicitly saying, okay, when you are lining up, this is how you're going to do it. And so that's one thing that you're really great at, is teaching them those skills.
Well, and to take the time to teach.
Right.
And don't assume. Some of the greatest instructors, and I've had phenomenal, inspiring instructors that have taught me how they've done this job we call, this brilliant job called teaching. If you want to affect children, you have to back up enough, reflect enough, and realize what works. And what isn't working, get rid of it. What works is when you're very clear with expectation, with kindness and with reality, and give the kids the purpose. Let them know the why. Because without even realizing it, kids are standing in the lunchroom listening to Mr. Leibel give instructions, and they're standing there with a brain ball, and they're smiling at Mr. Leibel, and Mr. Leibel's looking at me and looking at my students, and I'm like, I didn't tell them to do that. That's their natural pose, because they know it works for them. And what greater thing? I mean, you talk about even the commissioner of Kansas. We had him doing the brain ball the other day. So,
just
my
to
methods.
clarify,
yes.
Brain ball is putting your fingertips together,
yes.
Like you're holding a ball.
Like,
right?
those Nerf balls that we used to always have fun with? Pretend there's a Nerf ball. And you want the pads where your fingertips are just beneath there where your actual fingerprints live. Go ahead and kind of tap them gently. And press ever so lightly, but you're actually pretending there's a ball inside. Now you want to roll your shoulders back twice, and we do that often. That has to do with stress relief. Okay, and in Brain Gym we'd call that buttons. And then you want to breathe. And I teach the kids how to breathe, relaxing those elbows, and to breathe. To breathe in for 5, hold it for 7, and breathe out for 8. Very explicitly, and they do it 3 times, Josh. And the beautiful thing is, with a brain ball, they sit there and they start paying attention to their own heart rhythms. And it's really kind of a cool trick for those of you trying it right now. Once you have that brain ball and you find your silence for 10 to 15 seconds, and we talk about how important silence can be to them, and they're listening and they're feeling their pulse, they're going to realize what silence is. So often that we get into this state of we have to think of everything. We have to make sure we don't forget anything. We got little sister and we got mom worried about. Brain ball time is mindfulness time. And they truly also get to find out whether they're hydrated or not.
Which is a big thing for
you.
That's
right. Yes. You people laugh in the building at me now. because I'm all about the H2O. From just doing the brain ball,
Right.
Josh, you can actually teach the kids to find out their own hydration. And oftentimes the kids are dehydrated. It is a conversation I have deeply from a science perspective, but also it's one of those pieces that we have to teach the kids explicitly how to take care of their brain and their body.
Right.
When we assume that they know, or they'll figure it out, or they'll listen to it, they'll get that in high school, I truly believe it's too late at that point, because they've created habits that actually have gotten in their way of success and health. Am I a perfect specimen of health? No. Yes, I should have probably more water in me right now. But when we start the conversation at the middle school level especially, because now they have 7 different teachers through their day. They're going here and there and everywhere. If we can provide habits and reward those habits, there's nothing like it, Josh.
So the one hurdle that a lot of teachers may face when they're trying to get kids moving is how do you get them to come back and focus in on the next task? So I'm going to have a break in the middle, 12 minutes in, we're going to have a break, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose control of my class. So how do you bring them back from those breaks?
Practice and routine. The first couple weeks of my classroom, no matter what, whether I teach my semester class or a full year-long class, those first 10 days are the essence of your classroom management. Now, I'm telling you, who are genius at this are those elementary teachers. Oh, yes, they are the James Brown of all education. They're the hardest working people in education. Middle school teachers, we rock, and high school people, you roll. We know you rock too. But those elementary people, they have it right. You slow down so you can speed up later. Take the time to formulate habits. From the moment where they walk in and where hard work, dedication, hit the crystal, they're going to their different tables. They put up their binder. Agendas have been filled out. Rituals and routines. Once you have that, Josh, in the middle of the time, you'll say, all right, everybody up. Let's go 3, 2, 1, and up. They pop up. They push in chairs and they're brain balled ready. They automatically don't know how to do that. You have to train them. And the more information we give of why, the kids buy into that because they think it's something pretty special. Because it doesn't happen everywhere, but we know it's necessary.
Right. Okay, so what are some of your favorite ways to get kids up and moving in the classroom?
I tell you, there are so many different ways. We've already talked about Brain Gym. I love Kagan. Okay, everybody on the horn right now realizes Kagan is part of what we do here in Olathe, incorporating music with the Kagan strategy. Students that understand their brain and what their brain needs and how they thrive as a learner, many of our students are inspired by music. And it actually taps into something. It can release those same dopamine and endorphins just by hearing a song. So incorporating music, thematic music usually. So if you're, talking about a song, for instance, I'm, the science nerd in me, the Ring of Fire. When we heard it right, you know what's coming, Josh. You heard this too. The Ring of Fire with volcanoes in plate shifting over there under the beautiful Pacific Ocean. When we talked about the Ring of Fire, when the kids walked in, of course, the Ring of Fire was on. Got them rocking and rolling. Just Dance. Online, little Just Dance clips, getting the kids moving. 2 minutes. You don't have to do the whole song. Many of the kids actually have those different games where you can do Just Dance at home. So they get kind of competitive. And the coolest of the kids will actually be like, I'm going to bring it right now because I have this game at home.
I created a playlist of those so that then I could just go on YouTube and just click one so I didn't have to search it.
Brilliant.
So go to YouTube, create a playlist of just dance videos, and then you've got them right there. Easy to grab.
I love it. I love it so much. In our content, we oftentimes have vocabulary. And teaching vocabulary can be challenging for all different reasons. And it's about making connections. If we're a kinesthetic learner and we're learning vocabulary that is challenging, movement and incorporating movement to use with our vocabulary is definitely a way to add movement to the classroom. I do a lot of cheers, and we're not talking like cheerleader cheers. No dissing on my cheerleaders. I was a mascot from high school, so I get you. But when I'm talking about cheers, I'm talking about Harambe. And Mr. CJ Collins Johnson from so many years ago here at Santa Fe, I tell you what, he brought this from Freedom Schools, and I was familiar with Freedom Schools for my years in Augusta, Georgia. But these cheers, they get the kids up, they get them moving, they get them hyped. They get them to really share their pride for our school. And nothing's wrong with a little bit of fun. Our brain needs fun. And oftentimes our kids can't find the space where they can just have fun. Teachers, Having fun we have to have the box, we have to have the expectations and the rules, because we do have to reel them in. But at the same time, allowing those moments from those cheers, and think back to, different cheers you used to do even at summer camps, or those recall, and also online. There are so many different resources where these cheers exist, and there's nothing wrong with a small poem being recited. There's so many strategies, but to get the kids moving is everything. And these are just a few of the ideas.
So these are all great ways to incorporate movement into lessons. I'm not sure when this episode is going to air. However, after winter break is a great time to get back into these routines, teach those things. So if you had a teacher who was either kicking off the school year or coming back from winter break and needing to revamp it, where would a good place to start? Someone who has never tried adding a movement break, what would your recommendation, first step?
First step, here's the thing. Figure out where in your day, from the moment the kids walk in, that the conversation can happen. So New Year's resolution, right? This is this New Year's time. If I were having this conversation with a brand new teacher and wanting to instruct them, have it built into when they first come in to engage them. You need to have a space provided for the students where they can take risks. Yeah. Because some of this looks pretty goofy. Now, here's the deal, educators. You're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. Why? Because we expect students to do it all of the time. If it's a New Year's resolution, I say we get it going. From the time that they walk in, ritual routine. When they go, after they get settled, have them stand up and do one of these activities. Build upon the one the day before. So maybe if it's a brain gym technique, and I would be glad to share that with anyone that wanted to reach out, and at the end of maybe our podcast, any of you that want, I can shoot you a video of what we do, the processes that we do. I'd love to share it. Get it going one step at a time. Monday, do the first part. Tuesday, do that part plus one more. By Friday, you're going to have this amazing set of techniques where kids really, afterwards, they feel calmer. They feel whole. They sit up in their chair differently. They roll their shoulders back. You can see the results. Will it take some minutes out of your schedule? You bet it will. But I'm telling you this, that's pure engagement. So often, especially January, February, the compliance bug hits. Mm-hmm. Students have figured us out, and they know how to make it look as though they are engaged, but they're simply being compliant. By using movement techniques where they're getting that boost of oxygen, endorphins, dopamine, where they're getting these beautiful chemicals rocking the way the human body should, then all of a sudden the engagement part, they are more engaged. They will run to your classroom because they're excited about what they're about to do. But I would love to share some of the techniques. And here's the deal. Have a ritual for the end of your time too. Even if you have to set an alarm for 1 minute before that bell rings or before they walk out, have a ritual. Whether, we've seen some cool things on, the internet about handshakes and the kids creating their own. Have some sort of closing moment where the kids know that my work here isn't done, but our safe space, whether you circle them up, you have a conversation, wrap up, that is important or as important as the start of your day. So those would be my bits of advice to make sure rituals and routines, movement halfway through, at least, if not twice, and close it up with something solid to make them look forward to the next time.
Excellent. So, if you want to reach out, are you on Twitter? Are you?
I am. Okay. I am a new Instagrammer because I have teenage daughters. Instagram, Hillman 25. 25 is a lot in my world. I am on Twitter. I am a gentle tweeter, so I do tend to retweet great things at Hillman 25. And of course, Facebook, Amy Radiker Hillman is where you can find me. And so I probably hang out on Facebook more than I do the others. But with this new journey with Teacher of the Year, it's going to be neat that I'll be able to share some of my journey with others as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Josh.
As always, check out the most recent aim to nominate a Spark starter. There's a tab and a form to fill out where you can nominate somebody who's sparking innovation around you so that they can be recognized in the district. Until next time, keep sparking innovation.